Well, Pastors Allan and Cheryl Roach have been my guests in the past on this program, but it was a different city, a different set. It was 22 years ago. I can't believe it. I visited their church at Christmas in an amazing snowstorm. Almost didn't make it. But what a wonderful time I had. And I thought, you know, we've got some catching up to do. Welcome, folks, from the Gathering Place and Revival Center in London. I'm going to show a picture right here of, actually, this is when it was for sale. And that's a story we're going to tell in a minute. Now, this looks like a very staid, formal, beautiful piece of architecture. This was actually built as an outreach.
Yes, it was sometime in the mid-1800s when the first church building went up on that piece of property, Maura, as a white clapboard building. It was built with the intention to be an outreach to the people in the country. Now it's about 4 or 5 miles from the outskirts of the city now. It's very close to the heart of London. And then in 1892 they erected that sanctuary. And so it's been there speaking the gospel to that neighborhood for a long, long time. On
Dundas Street. And well, you made news last Easter. This is a copy of it was on page 3 of the London Free Press, Easter Joy. Yes. And we got the young people up front for that Easter service. Now, clearly the reporter was impressed. The big attraction, and we're going to actually show you a photo of that church sign in color. Body piercing, saved my life. That, of course, alluding to the price that Jesus paid at Calvary, that we celebrated Easter. But here's his quote. There was a cross-section of London's population, from the poor who live in some of the rundown homes in the area, to the well-heeled, to visible minorities, including many immigrants who fled repressive countries to celebrate their Christian faith. Worshippers joined in spirit. I think this reporter had a wonderful time with you.
It seems that way.
Last Easter.
We certainly had a wonderful time, and we were glad he was there. He said he was coming in for 10 minutes and stayed for the whole service, so we were very pleased with that. It was a great day.
You really do have a unique community there at the Gathering Place, appropriately named. Cheryl, at Christmas, I saw people in national costume.
The Nepalese people. We have a whole and growing group of Nepalese refugees that have come to us, and they are vibrant worshipers. And
they surely are.
They love to sing.
They do. They do, and they love to worship God with the freedom that we have in this country.
They have stories to tell. I would love to have some of them join us here. Give us a little of the background, Allan.
Well, to make their story very clear and short, about 200 years ago, the king of Bhutan hired 82, if I'm not mistaken, 82 stonemasons to come with their families and settle in Bhutan to build a temple for a place of their Hindu worship. And when they were completed that temple, he wouldn't let them leave. And so they developed a subculture within the country of Bhutan. Their population got upwards somewhere, I'm not going to be extremely accurate on this, but 125,000 people. They maintained their own Nepalese language. They maintained their own costume and customs in every respect. And the current king of Bhutan, for whatever reasons motivated him, did a census a few years ago and said if you can't establish that you are Bhutanese by documents, by language, etc., several different tests, then you're not welcome to stay. And so since about 20 years ago, over 100,000 Nepalese-speaking Bhutanese people have been put out of that country. And so where do you go when you have no country? You have no birth certificate, you have no passport, you have no place to call home. The United Nations pulled together and established 5 refugee camps in the country of Nepal, where the people there have been living for 2 decades. And they were given a handful of bamboo poles and a tarp and said, make a home. And that's been their home, row on row. It's just been very tough for them. Finding employment was hard. They would earn $1, $1.10 a day currently. And certainly everything over there is as expensive as it is here in general terms. tragedy on tragedy. Actually, one family that we have, the first family that came to our church, they were pastors in the refugee camp, had a church of about 90 parishioners. Huh. They, built a special place with considerable effort and sacrifice. They've just, in the last couple of weeks, had a terrible fire sweep through that part of their refugee camp. In 2 hours, 4,000 people were made homeless because of the thatched roofs and the bamboo poles and everything being so dry. So it's just been a life of challenge and tragedy for them. The United Nations pulled together, and all of the larger democratic countries have agreed to receive these refugees to themselves until these camps are depleted. And so that's why we have a handful of them in London.
Boy, these are the things we don't hear about.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
No wonder there's so much joy.
Yeah.
My, they were full of joy. We have a picture of some of the young people. I think some of these, at least in the picture, are Nepalese.
Yes.
And I mean, this is a sizable segment of your congregation.
Yes, yes, probably
wonderful.
upwards of 20% of our congregation is now Nepalese, and there are more families coming to London all the time. And the family that pastored in the refugee camp, they are continually, as are the others, outreaching to the new Nepalese people that come to town. And they're very fervent and passionate about their love for God and wanting.
Tremendously so.
William Barclay wrote, I don't know, over 100 years ago, "Love and I had wit to win. We drew a circle and took them in." And we see that. That's our heart at the Gathering Place, and it's the heart of the Nepalese people within the Gathering Place as well.
Well, being part of a Christmas dinner there this year.
It was wonderful to have you, Moira.
Oh,
you did a beautiful job.
It was just a great big family, and as diverse as this
Yes.
reporter noted.
Yes.
What makes it work? I mean, you're beloved pastors. What makes this comfortable for such a diverse group of people?
If I can make a comment there.
Yes, go ahead.
The scriptures say that we have to love God with all of our mind, all of our heart, all of our soul, and all of our strength. If we're doing that, we have to love our neighbors. And so we have this love inside our hearts for the people that God sends to us. When they walk through the door, we literally experience Him tucking them into our heart. And we're willing to walk with them more than a short journey. We're willing to spend our lives.
They need everything when they come, don't they?
They need everything, but each person, no matter what walk of life they come from, we just have this wonderful feeling in our heart that we love you and we want to help you, and let's work together, let's walk together.
Beautiful.
Isaiah 61 is kind of the mandate for the Gathering Place, and that's, of course, the scripture that Jesus read when He began His earthly ministry, as recorded in Luke 4. And so that's kind of the template for how the Gathering Place operates. And also the scripture, 1 Thessalonians 2, verse 7. And this is the heart that our people have. It says, having so fond an affection for you, we were well pleased to impart to you not only the gospel of God, but also our own lives, because you become very dear to us. And that's the pattern that God puts in the hearts of His people as we reach out to others.
Well, this is a God story. He's so excited about this, the purchase of this building. Can you give us a capsule of the miracle of getting this? You have to, I wish we couldn't even show it in photographs. What a beautiful, huge interior.
Is really wonderful. It's got a big wraparound balcony, seats hundreds of people. It's very startlingly wonderful when you step inside.
And what was the going price on this?
That was, I think, $475,000 on the main street of London.
Yeah.
And we were tent making to help cover our costs at that time, and I was working not too far away from that building, and I walked around to the front of it, and I saw this for sale sign. We made some arrangements to view the building with the real estate agents, and my wife and I were so taken with it, we put an offer on it, not a big offer, and it was parallel to the limited funds that we had, but it tied it up. We were able to bring our board of directors in to see the building, and everyone just felt so great about it. I had some personal communication with one of the stewards who was part of the exiting congregation. Just wonderful people, had a great big heart for the hurting people of the streets. And that just so echoed where we've been in our journey with helping homeless people in Peterborough,
Brock Street Mission.
Brock Street
I knew
Mission.
about Brock Street Mission before I knew Jesus.
No
Because that's my
kidding.
hometown,
Oh my
Peterborough.
goodness. Wow.
Everybody knew about Brock Street Mission.
Well, that was